So the next time you hear yourself and catch yourself bemoaning the fact that you have no trust, that you have no confidence, that you have no control, that you don't feel a connection, so on and so forth, stop yourself, remind yourself that the opposite must actually be the truth, and you simply have, for some reason, something you've bought into as a belief that allows you to use your trust, use your confidence, use your connection, use your control in ways that you don't necessarily prefer to. And that means you've made a choice to have that experience on some level. Usually these beliefs might be ensconced in your unconscious mind. And so the whole idea, when you catch yourself saying those things, thinking those things, feeling those things, is to realize that you might be describing a way in which you're using your trust, using your connection, using your confidence, but that the statement itself is not a fact. It's simply the product of something you've been taught to believe is true about yourself in that particular circumstance or situation. And if you start to realize that it can't really be possible that you can lack trust or lack confidence, then you can remind yourself when you hear those statements coming from you or passing through your mind, you can remind yourself in that moment, wait a minute, I heard that and I'm catching it and it's not a fact. It's just an opinion. It's a perspective. It's a belief. And those things can be changed. When you are very often growing up on your planet, you are taught to believe certain things. You pick them up, sometimes even telepathically, from your parents, from your friends, from your society, from your schooling. But when you finally arrive at the place where you are maturing into adulthood, you suddenly realize that you're carrying around all of this baggage from other people that you've bought into and picked up along the way. And it starts to weigh you down. You feel like you're dragging it along. Your own bags weigh nothing. If you feel held back, if you feel dragged down by certain ideas and beliefs within you, that should be your first clue that you're carrying around someone else's baggage that doesn't belong to you. You're carrying around someone else's belief system that isn't necessarily something you need to share. When you were growing up, you swallowed it all because you needed someone to take care of you. And so you wanted to appease your family, your friends, your society, your schooling by saying, all right, I'll go along with this for now. But by the time you grow up, it's become so unconscious, it's become so automatic that you don't even realize that you swallowed all these belief systems that had nothing to do with who you truly are as a being. And so the process starts happening where you start realizing that these things are not in alignment with who you feel you need to be, who you prefer to be. The vibrations don't match. It doesn't feel comfortable. It's not where you truly live. And therefore you have to start the process of divesting yourself of these beliefs that have nothing to do with you, that you've been carrying around for so many years. So the idea is simply when you get into that state where you start feeling that the thing you just said about yourself in a circumstance feels like it's rubbing you the wrong way, as you say, it's time to stop and take a moment and pay attention, because right then and right there is the most important moment for you to start getting in touch with what those beliefs are that are in your unconscious mind and bring them into the light of your consciousness so that you can see that they don't belong to you, that they make no sense for who you prefer to be, and then you can start to realize what is and isn't your truth. Does that make sense? All right. A very simple technique for any one of you in any circumstance where you start feeling that incompatible vibration is first and foremost, of course, be honest within your own self-investigation and allow yourself to realize the difference between whether it is truly something that is not representative of who you are, truly something that is not representative of your excitement, or whether it is simply your belief system making it look that way. As soon as you clear out with yourself whether something really is or isn't reflective of who you prefer to be, then you can move forward. But the idea is to ask yourself a question in one of two ways. Sometimes the first way will work for some of you. Sometimes the second way will work for different people. The first way is when you feel that, when you find yourself in that moment, what would I have to believe is true about myself in this situation to feel, think, behave, or experience what I am feeling, thinking, behaving, or experiencing? Because all experiences, all behaviors, all thoughts, and all emotions come from what you believe to be true first. That's the blueprint. The emotions are the builders of the reality. The thoughts are the building materials. The behaviors are the way in which the builders are building your house. And the experience is you living in the house that was built from the blueprint. And if it doesn't feel comfortable in that house, trace it back to the blueprint, make the changes there in the belief system, and the emotions, the builders, the thoughts, the building materials, the behaviors, the style of building, and the house will all start to be in alignment and feel comfortable for you to live in, which is your experience of life. So the idea is, ask that question. The answer in some way, shape, or form will come either through a dream or synchronicity or what have you. Or if you find that asking the question that way, what would I have to believe is true about myself in order to have this experience in this way, to feel what I'm feeling? If the answer doesn't come that way, you can take advantage of the fact that people on your planet are so used to the idea of dealing with fear that you can use it to your advantage in the following way, by asking the question in this form. If I did in fact allow myself to be who I really prefer to be, what am I afraid might happen? That will usually reveal the fear-based belief, if you are willing to hear it. Then you have something to work with. As soon as you bring the actual belief, the statement itself, the way it's arranged, the equation, so to speak, of energy that is that belief into the light of your conscious mind, and you're aware now of what the belief actually is, if you really take a strong look at it, a clear look at what it's saying, you will realize one very important thing. The belief doesn't make sense for you. It's not logical anymore. Because you can look around and see when you might believe something negative to be true about yourself. I don't deserve. I'm not worthy. I can't do this. When you look around and see other people who might be doing the kinds of things that you would love to be doing, following their passion like you might desire to follow yours, and you realize that they can do it, then you can do it. And so the idea of having this belief system within you that doesn't make sense as to why you would buy into this thing when it's clear that other people can do it, and therefore so can you in your own terms, then it starts to not make sense. And here's the important point. As soon as a belief doesn't make sense, it's gone. That's the end of the process of letting it go, not the beginning. Because many people talk to us and say, all right, now I've discovered the belief, and yeah, it makes no sense. So now what do I do to get rid of it? You already have let it go because it makes no sense. Why? Because you actually don't hold on to things that don't make sense. You don't. You never do. Now, if you intellectually understand that it doesn't make sense and yet you find yourself holding on to it, that should be your first clue that you have a belief system that is making it look like it makes sense. Because that's the only reason you would keep doing it. You would keep holding on to it, is you have a belief that says it serves you to hold on to this. Don't let it go. Something worse will happen if you let it go. That's just the way negative beliefs perpetuate themselves. Because if belief systems, both positive and negative, didn't perpetuate themselves, you couldn't have a physical experience because physical reality isn't real. You have to believe that it's real. And belief systems, both positive and negative, have to reinforce themselves and make it seem as if this physical experience is actually a real thing unto itself, separate from you. But it's not. So a belief system will use emotion, thoughts, and behaviors and experiences to reinforce the reality of the belief, to make it seem like a fact when it's nothing but a belief.